For more than 4 decades, KB Building Services has been serving customers throughout the Midwest while building a reputation for strong culture, consistent service, and a commitment to continuous improvement. Founded in 1984, the company became the first building service contractor in Nebraska to achieve ISSA's Sims Green Building with Honor certification. And throughout that journey, KB Building Services has focused on developing its people, refining its systems, and creating long-term partnership with clients. And today we're joined by KB Building Services President Channing Johnson to discuss the company's growth story, the challenges that shaped its success, the vision guiding its future, and also the role ISSA has helped play along the way. Channing, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So, how is your day going?
Day's a little hectic. People probably think in janitorial life, every day is the same. Not for me. All over the place. Couldn't get done when I need to get done. No car, no coffee shops open, all the things. So here we are.
I think it's great, Channing. The things that business owners do, even presidents of companies, to
Mhm.
get the work done. I think before we started recording, you talked about expansion as part of your time-consuming chores.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
You never, we expanded to Missouri in 2018, but it's the same time zone.
Hmm.
This is now not the same time zone. So, my calendar is just trying to keep up here.
Well, thank you for finding your way to this interview.
Yes.
Let's get started, Channing. Tell us about yourself and the history of KB Building Services.
Yeah, so KB, like you said, started in 1984, started by two women that said, we have a passion and drive to work hard. So what can we do? And no education, no nothing, and decided to dive into the janitorial industry, focus a lot on residential. And then, as I'm sure is similar to other people's stories, they met people along the way that also were owned real estate and said, "Hey, can you come clean our commercial office building?" So that's kind of where they dove into commercial. And a lot of times some people can do both. I think they're two very different avenues, commercial and residential. So at some point they had to make a choice. And then our primary owner bought the business in 2003 and quite literally pounded the pavement. He literally has in his office his shoes that have no soles because that's all he did for literally 5, 7 years was pound the pavement. And then I joined after college in 2009. And my start was my degrees in business management. And so my start was doing bid proposals and marketing and all those types of things. And now 17 years later, here we are.
So, are you part of the ownership of the company?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have like a just our main owner is a husband and wife. It was his mom and his aunt that started the company many years ago, back in '84. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Good story. All right.
yeah.
So obviously, Channing, you coming in with your personality, you're a fun person. I noticed,
Thanks.
I noticed something on, I think it was LinkedIn, about you sending personalized thank you cards.
Yeah,
That sounds somewhat unique for a building service contractor. Talk about that.
yeah. I think you know, at the end of the day, even when we have all this technology now at our fingertips, right? We have robots coming into the world, we have AI, all those types of things. At the end of the day, while all of that can make us more efficient and can have us, accomplish more in a shorter amount of time, it still is about the people, right? And what started this company in 1984, if there's one thing that has held true the entire 40 plus years, is that the people that have gotten us at every mark to grow and to scale and to be better, um, those are the people that make it happen. And so to have somebody stop in the middle of their day and say, you know what, I'm going to make it a priority to not just send an email, not just send a text, not just assume that, the thanks is there. I just find it to be so, I just know how I feel. I guess I know how I feel when I get a thank you card, right? It's very rare. It's very uncommon. And the stories that I hear back from people that are like, wow, I came home and I had this card and my family got to read this card and my family got to see that like I'm appreciated and thanked for what I'm doing because I'm missing out on some of their baseball games and I'm missing out on their dance recitals. And so I just find it to be very important. And like I said in that LinkedIn post, like I'm very efficient and I'm always looking for some way to work smarter. So I don't have to work as hard. Like that is the way my brain works. But it's worth it in the long run. And I love it. I love it.
Would you say that a company could become too big to do that type of marketing?
It's funny because people ask me that all the time, and especially after I made that LinkedIn post. And I think yes, but I think not yes in the maybe the yes in the way that it's done, but not the no in the sentiment of it, right? And so there's tons of different ways. One of the girls in my EO group sent me an Amazon link to a handwriting thing. And it was a couple $100, and you make your own font and it handwrites for you or whatever. So I think there's a time and a place for it. I also think it's a group effort, right? Like one of the things that my team does is they're measured and their pay for performance is measured by partner extra touches and employee extra touches. And writing cards is what counts for some of that stuff. And so it's not just me that does it, it's our whole team. And I do think for me, it's a great way to say, like, let's not forget where we came from, no matter how much we scale, no matter how many states we're in, no matter how many employees we have.
I like it. Now, we've mentioned 1984, start of the
Yep.
company. I'm
Yep.
bad at math, but that makes it 42 years, I believe. This is 2026, so
Yep. Yep.
I think I'm right. Now, I
Yep.
want you to go back and think about the company's journey. What are some of the defining moments that transformed KB from a local cleaning business to what it is
Yeah.
today?
I think the biggest thing that stands out for me is back in, oh my God, years ago. I think people, if you want to get into business or you want to run a business or start a business, right? People read business books, there's all these things. And I feel like the common thread is, oh, you start a business by having a mission, a vision, and core values, right? And if you have those, your business will fine. You have a foundation. I think what we realized is that we had those, but they looked pretty on the wall, right? Nobody knew what they were. They didn't mean anything to anyone. We certainly didn't make decisions based off of them. And so many years ago, it was very much like, okay, do we want to live in this reactionary world, right? In janitorial, you can always find something dirty. It's subjective. What annoys you because your height is different than mine is going to be different than what annoys me because of XYZ. And so if you want to find something dirty, you can, right? That's why I always say we don't sell, we're a relationship sale. And I think for us, it was like we're either going to always be reactionary or we're going to stop, lay the line in the sand. We had an actual burial outside. There's a headstone outside of our office and our headquarters in Omaha where we literally buried the past. And we said, today's going to be the day. We are absolutely going to be living, hiring, firing, everything based off of these core values. And so laying that line in the sand changed everything. Like it sounds crazy, but we had record sales, record retention on customer side and employee side. We had record net income. For literally, we would break our own record for like 3 years straight every single month. And for a while, we had to tell people like, nope, sorry, we're not going to complain about that. Go visit the grave. Like, go visit the grave. And it would just change the narrative, right? And so to me, it was the mindset shift. And that I think, honestly, looking back in my 17 years and 42 years as a company, it feels like for me and my tenure, it's very much been that was the line in the sand that changed it all. And we've never looked back.
This grave, you're serious about this grave.
Dead serious. I'm going to send you a picture in the pictures list I have for you.
If the picture is printable, if those anyone watching will see this in the magazine in ISSA Today. All right.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yep.
That's a great concept, great idea. All right. I want to talk about obstacles that companies face because anytime a company
Mhm.
grows, and succeeds, it's going to have to get over some obstacles, get through
Mhm,
challenges.
mhm.
Thinking of your time there and before, if you have the stories, toughest challenges KB encountered over the years, and what did that do to make the company stronger?
Back in 1984, we everything was done paper, right? It was a different type of employee, a different time. I remember, people saying, "Oh, I would come to the office and I would sit there as a supervisor." I mean, we have supervisors that have been on our team for almost 30 years, still on our team today. And they would say, "Oh, my first part of my job was just to come in and sit by the landline and wait for people to call in. And then after an hour and a half, I would be like, okay, now I can leave and I have to just go out and figure out how I'm going to cover everything like that." So in the spirit of people, right? We didn't never wanted to say we're changing as a company with this living and dying by this mission, vision, values, but we know you got us to where we are today, and we want you to grow with us essentially. And so I think one of the most difficult things was having to help people change to change alongside us with technology and with just the way the world is. And I think also us being able to say, this person or this team served a purpose for X amount of time, but they're not going to be able to take us to the next level. And I think that was just very difficult, I think, for me personally, for our team, because I don't want to forget where we came from. I don't want to forget about people. And so I think that really um, defining moment, and also I think really much like just a big stuck, right? We implementing, I mean, we've been through, now we have our own custom software, so that was a whole other thing of like building and teaching people, but like moving from punching in and out via calling from a landline via using smartphones, right? All those types of things I think have been the biggest obstacles, and we lost a lot of great employees over it because I don't think we did a good enough job to like get on their level and teach them that we want to grow together. We don't want to grow apart. We want to grow together. So how do we do this together? And then I think also, and people might say it's crazy that I'm going to say this out loud, but I feel like um, a big obstacle in the last 17 years was me, like me getting in the way of my team, right? Like by nature I'm a perfectionist. By nature I very much am uh have a little bit of like a fear of failure in my world, and I think for a while like that held us back, like my inability to not or my words of "I trust you," but the inability of me to actually live by that trust and set them up to succeed, and teach them what or live by what I was teaching them of like failure doesn't have to mean fatal, right? Let me give you the tools to make decisions and have you feel more confident. So I think my own personal journey of that held us back in a lot of ways and was an obstacle in a lot of ways. And I think now it's like, even just the last 5 years, like watching my executive team grow, and even if they carry the same title as 5 years ago, they're very different in their role and in humans 5 years later because of their ability to make decisions, feel comfortable making decisions, and really move into an executive role. And I think I did a poor job for a while of just needing to control it, if that makes sense, you know?
It does, and you're admitting stuff here that's human and refreshing to hear. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it all builds up and creates character and creates a good company when we're honest about where we come from and maybe some of the missteps we might have taken.
Well, and I think also just like owning things, right? Like it's
Right.
like if I'm gonna appear like by nature, I run fast, I move fast, people or my executive team's like, we don't want to take the same flights as you because you walk so fast and we can't keep up. And it's like we need to like have, I'm like, that's totally fine. I get it. Like my friends say the same thing. But I'm like admitting and being like, listen, I'm not trying to have you keep my pace. But also be able to say, like, I'm going to lead by example and be vulnerable in the moments where I've failed and not pass the buck. I'm going to point the thumb instead of point the finger. And I think that it more than anything has built the trust in our world for sure.
So I have to ask the culture question because that's a part of
Yeah.
almost every interview with a company. So talk about that. What you just shared. How does that
Mhm.
work with building the culture, the outcomes of your company to where you're at today, and at the same time making sure your clients are taken care of the way you want them to be taken care of?
Yeah, I think it was. way back in the day, it was kind of fly by the seat of your pants, right? Just try to get something accomplished. Let's teach the basics and all those types of things. And I think over the years, it was very much like, I don't want to operate as corporate America, but I need to we got to pull things from corporate America, what makes them successful in order to scale and in order to grow, right? And at the end of the day, I can't make every decision. I can't do everything. No one on my team can. And so I think we just got very clean with saying, how do we create a process, right? The running joke in my office is if Shannon got hit by a beer truck, does someone know how to do this, right? And we say that about everybody in our team, right? Is it's like, how do we set them up? So we have decision making matrices. We have specific trainings and policies. We try to gamify it, right? So that like, who wants to sit and listen to one person talk for an hour and give you a lecture on how to clean? Like, that's boring. Nobody wants to do that. It's like, how do we make a first impression that is like our company, right? We want to do something fun. We have a culture class. So even before you get hired on our team, you come to the culture class. We're looking and trying to notice the unnoticed. Are you on time? Are you paying attention? Are you on your phone? Are you engaging with the people next to you? We make it fun. We have music, we have videos, we get up, we move around. It's just very much, I think for us, it's saying, how do we develop this culture of, if we're going to lay the line in the sand on mission, vision, values, how does the culture by proxy um, end up being a culture of empowerment, but also a culture of appreciation and accountability, right? We're human. We're going to make mistakes, me, everybody. And so it's very much, how do we look at this and say, we're going to coach you up on the failures. They're not fatal. But then how are we also going to appreciate you for successes? We have an annual veterans party that has now become something that like people are like, wait, I get to be invited if I've been here for 2 years? Yes. And you get to bring a guest, and it's like a thing. And so I think it's not a building a culture, in my experience, is not um, necessarily something that can always be on paper. I think it's the consistency, it's the team you surround yourself with. And we always say we can teach anybody how to clean, right? Just like I can teach you how to run QuickBooks or I can teach you how to do laundry. I cannot teach you to be a consistent person, dependable, to proactively communicate, or to do what you say. Those are innate in you. Those are our four core values. And I think the constant conversation around those is what, by proxy, the cause and effect has become the culture that we have. And the way we measure it is customer retention, employee retention, turnover, and we typically operate on around a 99% customer retention and around a 91% employee retention. And I think it's everybody's team effort to protect everything we built, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. And for those watching the program, I want to mention that Channing is not caffeinated. This is normal Channing conversation because she tried to go to 3 coffee shops a day and found they are all closed on a Monday. So
Zero. Yep, no
zero.
coffee.
No, good energy. And I think that transfers to your team as well. Obviously, we were talking about that. And I love the fact you said you let them know. They know they don't have to keep up with your pace because that might not be a fair thing to ask anyone to do because we're all different people, all at different levels, different energies. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
I do want to ask you this, thinking about your company, the vision you're building, what opportunities do you see for both your company and the cleaning industry in the next 5 or 10 years? Because everyone wants to know what's coming next.
Um, I think, like I said, I am very efficiency and innovation are my two favorite things. I love to look at something and say, just because we've always done something this way doesn't mean we always have to do it this way, right? I'm not saying fix what's not broken, but I'm also saying don't allow yourself to be blockbuster and not change with the times and not be thinking about what's next or what is there. That being said, also, I do think, like we talked about earlier, like technology, AI, robotics are very much in the worldwide conversation. But also, if you've attended an ISSA conference, if you've been to the trade show, it is a common theme amongst the janitorial industry, right? Because labor just keeps going up, and we can't just continue to ask our customers to pay more, but our employees need to make more. So there's got to be a balance to find that. And so I think um, technology and AI will be the way of the game, but I think it's not everything. And that's where I think it comes back to that culture piece where it's like, how do you be proactive. And I get this also goes into like the ISSA conversation of like, you know, part of what I made my own personal goal 3 years ago was to say, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone and I'm going to go um, to a conference by myself and I'm just going to see. And that was the Business Growth Strategies Conference. Went by myself, not my, I know I'm high energy, whatever, but I'm an introverted extrovert. Like that's not my scene. And um, that sparked for me the ability to say, oh, I don't have to wait just for Vegas to put me in front of what's new and what the manufacturers are putting out that's new. I can go be around like-minded individuals who also have a passion for efficiency, innovation, people, and learn about things that are upcoming that aren't even available yet and start to filter some of that stuff into our world. And so I think getting involved in that has helped personally, has helped our business, I think a lot. Um, but I also think just not getting so caught up in what society says, right? Or what it has to be. It doesn't all have to be technology. It doesn't all have to be AI. If you're a small company, you can't afford that, or you're just trying to say, what's one thing I could do to put me in front of someone else and to be able to scale? I think it's just looking at it from, I don't know, just looking at it from a different perspective. And I also think like, the one rub I have with our industry is that it's so overly competitive and there it feels like, we're all chasing the same business. And I get it, we are, right? I totally understand. But I do feel like there's a place for collaboration. And I think over the last 2 years, especially like for me personally, of like getting more involved in ISSA, is I've now built myself kind of like a little peer group of people that we're all in the same states and we're all competing for the same business, but we're collaborating amongst each other because at the end of the day, our employees and our customers are happier and will be with us for life if our industry elevates, right? And one person and one company cannot elevate our industry. And that's what I think has been so cool of like this trust tree group of individuals that I've been able to find that care so deeply about this industry. And so I would challenge anybody. Like I hate going to the trade show and having the education conference, education seminars be lightly attended, right? And it's just like there's so many great nuggets that you can pull from those types of things. That whether you do less than $1 million or whether you do 20+ million in sales or whether you do 400 million in sales, the key is like it just takes one thing to create change, right? And
Mhm.
just because somebody else, you don't think you're a mammoth enough to do it or whatever, it's just one thing. You could write thank you cards and maybe that moves your employee retention 5%, right? You just never know unless you try. And I think I have imposter syndrome with the large companies and all those types of things too. So I totally get it. But I think just looking at it from a mindset shift of like, I don't have to be like everyone. I can still be us, but how do I be us with the way that the world is changing?
Good points. Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned ISSA helping you. Let's talk about that a little bit because it's your association.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your SIM certification, what that's
Yes.
done for you, and other things with ISSA that's helped you to grow? Now, we obviously events like you said, business
The
growth
Altus
strategies, which
Summit.
is now
Yep.
Altus, that's helped.
Yep.
But talk a little bit about those programs and SIMs.
Yeah. I think, first off, major shout out to my Sims assessor. So he's the best, Bruce. He's been since 2014, we've been certified. So recertified every 2 years. So I don't even know what that talk about math. I don't have enough coffee to do that math. But he is similarly to like the trust tree group of collaborators, right? He is a rock star for our industry. And when we set out to get Sims in 2014, it was very much because of the mantra of we're trying to live by processes. This is our industry. Our association is saying that these are the things that make a janitorial BSC great. So if we want to be great, let's incorporate these and all that kind of stuff. And I remember it seemed very daunting, like 150. I think it's more than that now. I remember it seemed very daunting. Um, but the reason we come back to do it every 2 years, I mean, obviously we have no choice, but is we learn more throughout the process and from our assessor than I could ever give from us, if that makes sense. So like he just cares to help us be better. He just cares to help us grow. His biggest rub is he's like, you're not growing fast enough, Channing. I'm like, okay, okay. But it's like, because he cares, you know? And our employees love it. They feel privileged and proud. And it's so cool because they get excited and they're like, oh, is he going to come to my building? That when is he coming back? And it's just so neat because it's the outside perspective in their eyes saying thank you. And so Sims has taught us a lot of just how to be process oriented, how to hold yourself accountable, right? Really easy to make an SOP, really hard to keep it updated. Not the easiest thing to do. And again, that's where I think using technology and AI, if you just figured out how to use that to help you keep SOPs updated, that's a huge win for any company, whether you're small or large. And so I think that in Sims has been just great for us. I think also to think outside the box. He's had so many ideas for us over the years. And so we've implemented, and he always jokes, he's always like, you're the only company that I say something to on a Tuesday afternoon. And by the time I go back to these buildings on Tuesday night, you've already created the process. It's already implemented. It's already done. It's already there. And I'm like, but that's the purpose of doing it, right? So I think Sims, the ISSA events, the education seminars, just the collaborative nature of it has been awesome. I feel very blessed and fortunate to be a part of the Alta stuff this year. And I think just things that I never thought, I mean, when I did started joining this 17 years ago, I never thought I'd be caring about or learning about like M&A and stuff like that. But it's so cool to go and like understand and like learn about that and feel like I've either elevated our company or I've elevated a department or extend my team and they elevate their world. So I think ISSA has been really grateful for that. And my team also, shout out to Cleaning for a Reason. My team loves being involved in that. And I think that's super impactful and super cool. We've taken what you guys have given us and made it our own. And they also get thank you cards after we leave their house. They get a custom candle. Like we have all pink equipment. Like, so we've turned it in, put our own spin on it. But it's something our team feels really proud about. So it's having that relationship with ISSA that's allowed us to do a lot of these things.
Thank you for sharing that. That's good to hear that it's working for
Yeah.
you. And that's what we want all members to do, to embrace all that's available. And I love cleaning for a reason as well. The program to help people who need it the most. There's no better way in the cleaning industry to step up than cleaning for a reason.
Yeah.
Final question. We'll wrap it
Okay.
up. I want one piece of advice from you to the industry. What would you share with them that they should do now to succeed?
Well, I think twofold. Don't forget where you came from, right? Don't forget the people that have gotten you to X dollar or X number of states or whatever your measurable is for success. And don't also forget that these are the people that probably gave you 150 great ideas over the course of however long you've been with them. Um, don't forget that they also still know probably more than you do if you're a business owner or if you run a department, right? They are doing this job every single day. They appreciate what you do as the business owner or as the department head or as the C-suite person. They need you, they appreciate you, but they know way more than I know, right? They know what is going to work, what is not working. And if you give, for me, in my experience, if we give them the forum and the trust to do that, then they feel empowered to say that. And so ideas and things that we have put in place to help us scale have not all come from me sitting in a conference room with my executive team and our ownership group. It's in no way, shape, or form has that been the case. And I think that is to me what has set us apart and allowed us to be on a scaling trajectory because we have the corporate aspect of what you need, but we also have this funnel of what we call next level leaders that really want to be empowered to share their story and to grow within our company and our Path to Leadership program. And they have the greatest ideas. So I would say, long winded, don't forget where you came from and don't forget how you got where you are because just because the world is changing, yes, we have to incorporate all those changes in our world and we need to think proactively to do that. But we also have gotten successful thus far because of that. So just not forgetting that.
So that's our interview for today. Channing, thank you. I want to say to everyone watching to this point, if you need more words of advice, you can find Channing at ISSA show coming up soon. She'll be the one running down the hallway and you'll never catch her, but maybe you can yell a question to her. No, just kidding.
Just holler at me.
Holler at Channing. All right. Well,
Yes.
thank you for this. We'll see you at the show.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jeff.